Alright, so you want to make your videos look cinematic. Today I'm going to break down some tips and tricks that I've learned over the years as a practicing filmmaker. Now, of course, the number one aspect is storytelling, but today I'm going to be more focused on the visual aspect, the more technical aspect, and simply how to make your videos look cinematic. So without further ado, here's tip number one. Arguably the most important thing is lighting. Now, you can have the most expensive cameras in the world, but if your lighting is bad, the footage is just unusable. Good lighting and you shoot with an iPhone, you can get away with pretty decent shots. Now, a common misconception is that you need very expensive lights for your videos, but that just isn't true in 2024. I'm using this Yongnuo Lux RGB light. It's a 100-watt light and it's only like $149 at the time of recording this video. And this is RGB, so you can literally get colorful shots like this one at the back. And the most important accessory you need is diffusion. Diffusion is just so important, and the rule of thumb to know is that the bigger the diffusion, the softer the light is gonna be on your skin, and the nicer the roll-off will be. Okay, so this is how my lighting setup looks like. This is the key light over here pointing 45 degrees onto my face. This is a fill light, just literally filling up this side of my face. Over here we have the backlight. This is hitting my hair, and that blue glowing light over there is to light up the background. Okay, so this is with all the lights off, and right now only my computer monitor screens are lit up. And I'm gonna turn on the key light, and that is what it looks like with the key light on. Now, you could stop here, but if you realize, it creates this shadow side on my face. And now we're gonna add a fill light, so it's slightly weaker, and you can see it fills in that nice shadow side of my face, and we have a more even look right now. Now, if you really don't have a budget to get another light, you could literally use a whiteboard, a styrofoam board, or even a cheap reflector that is white in color. Just place it right beside you and it should bounce off the light from the key light to fill in the shadows of your face. I usually add a backlight. It's also called kicker light or the hair light. So it's basically to light this part. So this is with the backlight and this is without. So I actually have one more light at the very top mounted over there, and it's gonna shine at the background to light up my whole entire wall. So now it's gonna be turning on anytime now. There we go. So this is what it looks like. And of course, it's just a little bit weird because I have a neon sign over there that is called a practical light. You can use different things. In this case, I have my monitors as sort of like a light source as well to make things a little bit more interesting. And there we have it. Now we're back to square one, which is the light setup that I had. So this is what I would light when I'm doing YouTube videos like this, talking head videos like this. It's just a very nice, well-rounded setup, and it's very easy to set up as well. So once you get everything set up, you could literally just turn all of these lights on and you have a nice talking head setup like this. Okay, one more really simple hack to get cinematic shots is to shoot on the shadow side. This is when you have a really strong backlight and it just shapes your object a little bit more. You could have one that is super dramatic and it's just a silhouette, or you can have one that is a little bit more subtle, a little bit more gentle, and just adds and complements to your image. I specifically love having lights shining into the lens, like a more dreamy lens flare effect. Oh, it just looks so good and so cinematic. Okay, next up, let's talk about the shots themselves. You absolutely need to shortlist when you're starting out because it's very easy to forget the shots that you have. You need to know what shots you want and what shots you need to drive your story forward. These are things that you need to consider before filming the video itself. Alright, here's a general rule that I like to follow. Start off with a wide establishing shot. This gives context to the location that the character is in. Next up, I add a mid shot to show the expression of the character or just actions and movement of the character. You could also throw in an expression shot to really introduce your character. And I also like to add an over-the-shoulder shot to show what the character is doing. Then you can add even more close-up shots to add more context to the scene, and even throw in expression shots to show what the character is going through. I usually watch films, movies, and YouTube videos to gather inspiration, and from there I sketch out the shots that I want. If I really have a very strong idea and vision of what I already want in my head, at the very bare minimum I would still create a shot list so that I would not forget and leave anything out. It's very important because when you have so many shots to shoot, it's very easy to just leave out shots and not shoot them when you need to. Now, one very key important factor is your focal length. Choosing which focal length to use for your videos really matters in driving the story forward, because it really determines the compression of the shots that you have and also how tight and how close up the shot is. For example, using a 50mm lens like this can get you really nice and close. Or if you want to show more of your scene, you need a wide angle lens like this 11mm one by Yongnuo. These lenses are actually very good. I use them for a lot of my videos on Instagram. Now let's say you want a little bit more close-up shots and you want more depth of field at the back, you could use a 33mm lens and it could get you this really nice dreamy bokeh at the back. It's usually to show more emphasis on the subject. And let's say you want something more stylistic that just really pops, you could use a 75mm one like this one from Sirui. Now just to take note, all of my lenses are APS-C lenses, and if you're a beginner and you just have your first camera, it's probably an APS-C camera too. So the crop factor is actually quite important over here. I'm just gonna briefly touch on it. An 11mm on an APS-C camera is probably more like a 16mm on a full frame equivalent. So having that crop factor in mind, you're not actually getting 11mm, you're getting something a lot tighter. As long as you know how it looks and what kind of lenses you're gonna use for your shots, you're good to go. And research on all of these lenses before actually trying to get your shots. Now, rules are meant to be broken, so you could actually experiment with different field of views. Instead of using a 50mm lens like this to get close-up shots, you could even try using an 11mm lens to get really close to your subject to give this very distorted field of view effect. It's all about experimenting and seeing what works for you and how you want to tell your story and move your story forward. Just a reminder as well that Wong Kar-wai used a 6.5mm ultra wide angle lens for the whole of Fallen Angels. So there really are no rules when it comes to filmmaking, it's all about personal preference. Okay, next up, let's talk about colors. Oh, my favorite topic of all, because colors is when the whole edit really comes together and you're able to see what your final image looks like. It's the most exciting part of filmmaking in my opinion. So like I said, I'm using the FX30. It's a great affordable entry point to start filming in RAW formats. I shoot 4K 30 frames per second in 10-bit 422. And the picture profile I use is S-Log3. Now if that sounds a little bit foreign to you, you don't have to worry. I'm just gonna keep it really simple. S-Log3 is a picture profile that is very commonly used for a lot of Sony cameras because it gives the best dynamic range and color science, and it just looks good when you color grade it in post-production. Recording in 10-bit literally means capturing more color data, and that just makes your colors look better. 10-bit color is basically better than 8-bit color on older cameras, and if you have 10-bit recording on your camera, I highly recommend turning it on because 10-bit just looks way better when you're starting to color grade in post. I use my own custom Lutpack, which allows me to simply drag and drop it on top of my clip, and I can get the exact color science that I want. Now it did take me years to create this and tune it exactly to my liking, but now when I drag it above my clip, I barely need to do any tweaking and it just looks good out of the gate. If you're interested and want to support me by getting these LUTs, I'll leave a link in the description down below. Now if you realize some of the shots that I have actually has more volume to its lighting, it's no coincidence, it's actually because of this device right here. This is called the Smoke Ninja by PMI Gear, and it's basically a mini handheld fog machine. Now of course, the ones they use in Hollywood are way bigger, but this gets the job done. So I simply click on the fog mode and just let it rip like that. Look at that. So I just fog up my room, and once it's all fogged up, I turn on the lights and we get this very cinematic hazy look effect. Disclaimer, this isn't sponsored, but I'll leave a link in the description in case you're interested. Alright, so we got all of this down, your visuals should look really good. And the very last tip is not visual, but it's the sound. So we're talking about sound effects, music, and very importantly, voiceovers. Now you can add your own voiceovers, but not everybody has studio quality microphones, so I like to create my own voiceovers using AI. Now having really good voiceovers that sounds like it's recorded from a studio can really level up your production quality. From something like this to something like this.
Ever felt like you're drowning in a deluge of your own sorrows? Like you're staring into an abyss of your regrets and errors, and it stares back when you're left stranded in limbo, forced to confront your own solitude again and again. But then you saw a gleaming beacon of hope, no bigger than the size of your palm, your iPod, and the healing serenades it provided were your last vestiges of happiness and hope.
Pretty sick, right? Here's how I got the voiceover, and no, I didn't do it by myself because this video is sponsored by Motion Array. If you're a content creator on any platform, be it TikTok, Instagram or YouTube, you've probably run into a few issues. You don't know where to find a certain sound effect, your music keeps getting copyright strikes, and you're not exactly sure where to look for those sick animations that you see other content creators use. I hear you, I was in the same boat. I've personally been using motionarray.com because it's like a one-stop shop for everything that I need. Now I have access to presets, transitions that work literally in the Premiere Pro app by itself, endless sound effects, and high-quality music. And the question that you're all wondering, the voiceover. There's a new AI voiceover feature that literally allows you to create your own voiceovers by typing in a prompt. All you gotta do is head over to this tab over here, type in the prompt that you want, and then select the voice that you like the most. And within seconds, you can create literally the most professional sounding voiceovers.
Like you're staring into an abyss of your regrets and errors.
If you're interested, head to the link in my description for 50% discount when you sign up. Alright, thank you so much for watching. I hope this video has been helpful. It's more or less talking about the production side of things and how to get cinematic shots, but if you want to see more videos on the ideation side of things, the storyboarding, scripting side of things, or even post-production where we talk about editing and color grading, do let me know in the comment section down below. I would love to create more videos for you guys to watch. My name is Declan Joston Tan, aka DDT, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.